morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you your weekly flesh and blood market update. Let's go! There's lots of stuff to talk about today. Can't say it's a boring market. It's an exciting market. It's a frosty market. Let's just jump in. There's a bunch of stuff. I'll talk about some cards this time too. I have a little bit of time to go into some detail. So let's jump in with the box prices. Unlimited WTR is down 6.3%, 3% technically, to $74 from $79. This is a new low. We have not seen this uncharted territories in a while since the rise up to towards 100. So that's interesting. We'll look at the charts and what that looks like. ARC Unlimited is down 7.48% to $99 from $107, the first time under 100 for quite some time. This is saying something about where Unlimited is going to be, about where collectability of sealed product on this is going to be for the medium term, we'll probably say. And we've been talking about this a bit. Essentially, that the markets are going to dry up, capital's going to drain out, and it's going to take a while for things to recover. We are on the downtrend. Cool thing about downtrends is there's great opportunities to buy products along the way if you're able to hold on for a long time and you're financially secure and safe and you have your debts paid off and you have other investments and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these things I say every time and have been since I began. Basically, if you're in a good financial space and you're in a place where you believe that investing in cardboard is something worth doing in the long run, then you are about to have the time of your life. But I would hold off because there are some macro indications that this is not going to change anytime in the short term, and that we will probably see extensions of this for quite some time, at least call it like probably 3 to 6 months. There's no financial advice here, and I am not a genie. No one can tell you the future. But I can look at historic indicators in the economic strata and kind of give an idea of what has happened in the past when similar setups have occurred. That said, these days, when you look at anything in any market, you realize that it is not behaving normally. Most of the time, certain activities around interest rates lead to other activities, and that's not happening. Most of the time, certain activities around, flows of money and capital happen, and other things happen, and that's not happening. So a lot of wonky indicators, leaving a lot of uncertainty in the markets, which will lead to a tightening one way or the other. One thing that we can be certain of is that with the elevated interest rates happening for a longer time than expected, I'll explain why in a second, we will see a drain of capital on at-risk assets, which is things like cards and equities and etc. The equities are just starting to really feel it and feel the pressure, and I have a feeling they're going to feel the pressure for a while. The big thing to look at, or the thing that I've been watching that just happened and is worth paying attention to at this time because it just came out, was job openings and like that initial unemployment rate. As of right now, or as of yesterday, we had some unemployment information come out and job openings went back up. So the idea was that typically what you see is job openings go down first, right? And then slowly new unemployment goes up because the people that are fired can't find new jobs, right? So if the job openings are down, if there's not a lot of available market space, then when people leave jobs or get fired or whatever, they can't find new jobs, and that increases the unemployment rate because it stays elevated because people can't find jobs. And the longer it stays elevated, the less employment there is, the less capital there is for individuals, retail, etc., to go buy things, and therefore it has impacts on the economy. Well, what happened yesterday was, we saw job openings were coming down on a long-term trend. It actually spiked back up. There are more jobs again. Now, granted, this will be revised to correct for seasonality because right now is when people hire for the big Christmas rushes and all that stuff. But it's worth noting that it did go up when it was not expected to go up. And that means that essentially if the Fed has to make a decision, which they do in the next, 3 or 4 weeks, on another interest rate hike, unemployment and job openings are things that they look at for that, and it means they're probably going to stay elevated, if not increase again, which a lot of people have this suspicion that the Fed will pivot and turn around very quickly, and I have a feeling they're taking a long time. I think I've said that here before. If they take a long time, again, that's long-term pressure on capital to be into things like bonds, like fixed interest rate kind of returns, which means outside of at-risk, on-risk assets like cards, equities, etc. And so you will see that pullback over a longer period. And I have a feeling that's the course. They're going to go for that as long as it makes sense until we see real pain in the economy as a whole. So, anyways, point being that things like ARK, to bring it back, that we're at 120, will probably for an extended period of time stay below their previous highs. And when things happen like that, you do get capitulations and people just running from the market in terror. Trying to get out as fast as they can, realizing that these assets don't hold value when in risk-off markets, which is what we're entering into, and that it's going to be a while before they can. And so they thought they'd be able to flip it, shorter term, or have this asset as a long-term thing that they could liquidate any time, and that's just not going to be the case. So over the next 6 or 8 months, more like 3 to 9 months, maybe, I guess, if we're going to give a fair range. I think 3 is very optimistic. I think 9 is probably very pessimistic. It's probably 6 months range, give or take. But over that period, I think we will see a decline in value of all this stuff. For any of those that are holding for short-term gain, this is not the time. For any of those that are willing to hold on for a longer term, this is a buying opportunity over the next 6 months. So if you do the DCA strategy we've talked about on this channel before, now is the time to figure out the things you want to target. Now is the time to figure out what your price is for entry. Now is the time to figure out what your regularity for purchases is and what sorts of things you want to keep an eye on, like TCG Sniper, target certain pricing. That's the best way that I know to navigate downward markets. And personally, this is my favorite, where I have the most fun in markets, is when things go down for extended periods of time, because I am patient. Anyways, let's move on. Crew down 6.02% to 78 from 83. Same story as the above. Mon, crazy jump, 10.42% up to 53 from 48. Is it really crazy? No. 54 was where we were a month ago. So it's, probably revision to the mean. This was probably just too fast as 48 last week. And so it's bouncing back and will continue downward. I see no reason. Maybe it was an ARB situation. Maybe the boxes got too low and it became a thing and things sold out. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why this jumped, but I call this an aberration. I don't think it's going to change the downward trend we're seeing in general. I'd love to be wrong. WTR is down 7.41% to 300 from 324. ARK is down 6.61% to 410 from 439. Mon is down 13.68% to 202 from 234. And then we scroll all the way down. It's funny, too. I want to point this out. See how Unlimited is now in the ICE zone, where we were seeing, more activity over the past month or so in the first edition zone, and dead activity in the Unlimited zone. So it's funny how these things, they go in waves of what is the actual active product. So we see it back here, too. We have this, I kind of want to revisualize this whole heat map. Like I said last week, I was messing with it and doing a few things to see if I could see other patterns. If you change some of the dynamics about how this happens, there's probably some interesting, patterns of Unlimited happens, first edition happens, and Unlimited happens, or whatever. There's patterns of movement in pricing and where things are. So anyways, while we had a Unlimited silence for a while, we are now in the cold winter of Unlimited. Anyways, Mon's down to 202 from 234, down 13.68% for the Unlimited. And then we go down all the way to EVO, which has had a price drop of 8.24% to 345 from 376. If you notice, there was a slight modification to the data there. It is because I had a bug in the number I put in. I fat fingered it. Anyways, so moving on to individual cards. There's some interesting stuff to point out. Command and Conquer. So these are the fun opportunities, right? If you play the game, but you also look at these markets, you will notice that the markets will have an impact even on playable cards. It will be more minor because the collection part has always been minor compared as far as pressures on the market compared to the playability stuff. But when a market is down because of financial struggles, a market is down because of financial struggles, right? And so that is an opportunity to buy things that you've been looking to buy. I thought it was interesting that we see, Command and Conquer down at 70s, in the 70s, 73, which is the lowest I've seen in a while. Now, this, played version was 70, but I haven't seen it at 73 in a long time. It did happen. We do have them way back. I guess it was at the beginning of last month. I didn't notice it because it probably changed in the time since I saw it. But it was interesting to note that we are seeing low prices on Command and Conquer, 2 sold at $73. These rainbow foils seem to be holding up, and it looks like there's regular sales of them. So people are still picking up some of these collectible rare things. But I have a feeling, $219, but then 150s, 160s. See, the prices of even the collectible things are on the downtrend. So over the next 6 months, DCAing is what I recommend if you do believe in this product in the long term and feel like there's a chance of some sort of viable future for selling into a different market when things get hype again. Personally, I'm not going to do that with singles just because I have basically all the singles in the world I want right now, and I don't need to buy more. I did the collecting part a while ago, and I feel like I have a fleshed out collection. Not perfect, not everything, but it's most of the things I wanted. I got my shelf stuff. I got my art. I have my weird, rare pink strip blah, blah, blahs, right? I have a bunch of different things in that realm. Point being, there's going to be a buying opportunity. If those are things you've looked at in the past and wanted, this will be a buying opportunity. So anyways, coming up into E-Strike, we're looking at this. It is fairly low, not the lowest it's been in a while, but it's fairly low, and it has been that way for a while. Now, I find it quite notable at the number of sales. Just in the last month from here, this is what I was looking at. Look how many sales there were. This is just September. That's crazy. E-Strike is just sold every day, basically. The price fluctuates. We see it up to 33 and down to 20 something, I think. 21 maybe was the lowest I saw. 24, 18. There's a couple 18s. Wow, that's crazy. I definitely missed that. $18 sales. So again, E-Strike, it's a critical, fun card to play in a lot of decks. Good to pick up. It's a good time to pick it up. Again, use TCG Sniper. I think it's tcgsniper.com, but Google it just to make sure you don't go on a scam site. Essentially, you can set up alerts. They'll send an email when the price hits a certain point. If you've been waiting to get a set of E-Strikes, this is your chance. Get the target on there, put the sniper on it, and then next time it's an $18 card, you'll be able to pick it up. There will probably be a point in the next 6 months that it will be an $18 card. Another one I know a lot of people have looked at over the long term and said is overpriced. It is right now. Well, it's higher than its low, but this is again what I wanted to point out. It's sold. Footsteps, Phantasmal Footsteps, the classic illusionist foot card or legendary legs, I guess is what it technically is. It sold yesterday for 103. So this is a downward pressure. It was 105, a week ago. When it was 150 to 200s not all that long ago. And I remember people, kind of panicking that it was so overpriced. So now it's down to 100, which is a very reasonable legendary card price. Again, TCG Sniper, if you've been waiting to collect this, which I think there are a number of people who have, this is one that you're going to continue to see downward pressure on. Anything you ever thought was like, oh, this will never come down, now is the time to take a look at it, because not only are they printing game pieces to, devalue them per our next one, but also allowing the market, or the market itself is draining capital. Therefore, you're going to be able to pick up some of these things that you thought you'd never be able to buy. Just be patient. Patience is the key with capital. Always is, always will be. All right, Spring Tunic, the other thing I wanted to point out. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I wanted to show your history pack price is 128, right? WTR is 156, and then Crucible of War is 120. We have the new one, Evo. It's not out, it's on pre-sale, and it's 129. So it is falling in line with essentially Crucible of War, which has seen a steady decline in price. Obviously, the first edition is gone up because it's a first edition. I don't know. I just think we're just going to see a decline in this, generally speaking. I think some of them will hold up, like whatever it is, it will hold up like this is number 1, this is number 2. This will be, I don't know. It's higher than your Crucible right now, but over the long term, this should just have a downtrend, right? I assume they're going to keep printing History Pack 1 for a while. That was the stated goal. We don't know how long and how many, but this is going to continue to decline as those get opened. This is set in stone how many. Eventually, it will be set in stone how many. This is eventually set in stone for how many, right? So what you're really seeing is a reprint, which is going to add to this whole thing. Basically, these 3 will go down as a whole. This being the lowest, second, third, and then this theoretically, again, we don't have full details on what their print plans are for this, but theoretically should be overprinted to this. Do we have data on that? No, we don't. I want to see that data because I want to see where this actually fits. History Pack versus this Evo post 2.0 printing. They will eventually give us those numbers. That will be a key moment in the history of Fab to determine exactly how they are printing and what they're thinking about when it comes to reprints on History Pack and reprints of key cards in 2.0 product. It will be a guiding light, and this is the first situation where we get to see, the double reprint situation. That will guide all the future versions of reprints. So we'll be able to base it on like, okay, what's the ratio of this to this to this? And then, because you can calculate that out, we know exactly what the print numbers are, right? And how frequently it was pulled, give or take. We can get that number. We don't know on these, but theoretically, they're printed much, much greater numbers than these two, by a lot. Is the guess is probably a real solid guess. This is actually probably the most rare, this Crucible of War one, but it doesn't have the foiling treatment if I recall correctly. So yeah, anyways, let's move on to the charts. Tunic will be our keystone to the future of 2.0. All right, Unlimited, we had a lot of activity, so let's just go through all of them. Yeah, WTR is dropping off. The premium is following suit. Nothing special as far as an ARB case goes. ARC dropping off. Yep, premium's following suit as well. So again, no ARB situation there. Crew, we are seeing the premium hold up while the single box price drops. We are at that level again. If we pass below and continue lower, we will show that this support is not there. Resistance is futile, as someone commented last week. I love that comment, by the way. Thank you. That really did make me laugh. It took me a second because I look at the comments days later, and I don't remember all the things I was saying, but I was talking about the resistance line. It clicked like maybe an hour after I read it. I was like, resistance futile. I don't understand. I mean, cool nerd reference. He was talking about the resistance lines here. Let me go back and show you. I believe last week I was talking about resistance. I don't think it was Crew or something, though. It may have been Crew. Something has one of these points where it's like the price just holds there. It continues to hold there. That's considered a resistance line in general technical analysis. And I was saying something about will the resistance hold up, and he wrote resistance is futile, and I did chuckle. I appreciated that. Those comments always get me. Yeah, Mon, wow, right off a cliff. Oof. Yeah, and we do see an ARB opportunity of $2. Not really an ARB opportunity. We do see this resistance line held up and bounced off of it, so it's curious. Let's see what the cases do now that we're seeing this. There is no resistance line from a historic standpoint on cases. Cases held for a long time. Looks like they are not anymore. Yeah, they held the line during this period where the price decline was happening on the individual boxes. The box bounced up. I actually feel like this, and this is just gut feeling, I could be totally wrong. If the cases are dropping off, this box price follows suit. So I don't think this resistance will hold. I don't think this will revert just to the mean. I think unless there's some aberration on the box or the cases, I think the case will end up driving down the box price over time. Tales of Aria, always our favorite goofy looking chart. Yeah, I mean, we're floating in this area. Someone posted about that too. I'd like to call that out as well. They said that long term, Tails is one of the most powerful sets, which I tend to agree with. There's a lot of powerful cards in Tails, and in LL format, when that happens, Tails will probably be the most used set or one of the most desired sets, because if you look at Lexi had her time in the sun and was very good. You have Icelander, who's very good and uses ice cards from Tails. Um, Obviously, well, I don't know. Can we? I mean, Starvo needs elemental cards, and he's probably always going to be broken. But does everyone else stay broken? That's a good question, because like when you think Starvo versus Lexi, is Lexi even a thing? That's a good question. I don't know. LL is going to be a strange format. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Like, let's make some long-term predictions together. What do we think is going to happen? LL becomes a format, and what will that do to the prices of different sets? What's real? Is it going to be Shadow and Light with Chain? Because Chain's like fundamentally broken good. Starvo was able to beat out Chain in that meta because of certain bans. We don't know if bans are going to be a thing or not in LL, but you know, is Starvo just always going to be the best? Because he was really powerful. I mean, he LL'd so fast, so I assume he's really powerful, and that we have not power creep past his level. And honestly, maybe that's how they look at LL. Like when power creep catches up to Starvo, therefore when you get a few things in there that are as powerful as Starvo. I don't know, because if you look at the heroes, they seem to be pulling them back and dialing them back as opposed to letting power creep happen. So maybe they just don't make LL happen, or maybe they ban Starvo right off the bat to try to make it interesting, because Starvo was just so broken. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, moving on to the first edition charts. Like I said, I had some time today, so we're chatting. I would love to hear your comments, though. I do love them. They keep me going. All right, WTR. Actually, you know what? This is kind of boring. There's like nothing in first edition boxes, was there? It was Mon. No, it wasn't Mon. Mon wasn't even boring, because I had to correct that. Or it wasn't even exciting. Yeah, it's just a downward trip there. Nothing special. It was just Bright Lights, which isn't charted yet. Yeah, next week will be the first Bright Lights chart. It will have history, which is why I do it the way I do it, so that there's some sort of line. But it's gonna be like this. It's actually gonna be like this. Kind of the inverse of this. It's gonna be a straight line and then down. It's gonna be the whole line. But that's how it always starts in the beginning. Yeah. Well, I guess we're done then. How sad. My time with you is over. I was really having fun. Anyways, I hope you guys are out there cracking packs, playing games, enjoying this hobby that we love. Don't fret the small stuff, guys. It's money. I know it's going down. It's sad. Really, get out, touch grass, give your family a hug. Never put more money into these things than you can afford to lose. This is a hobby after all, and there's no financial advice here. Until next time, have a good one.